Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those that do not know, my name is Comfort Oladayo Adegberu, and today I'll be talking about how studying in Italy feels like, and walk you through what the educational system is all about and what you should expect. So if you're planning to come to Italy, if you have seen my video, the one I released the last time about application to study in grad school, I think you need to check this video too, so you can keep yourself aware of what you should expect. So if you've seen the previous video I released on grad school application here in Italy, I think you might also want to know what the educational system looks like, if it is something you think you can cope with or if it is something you think you cannot cope with. And if you are yet to see the previous video I released, I think you should check the description box below for the link to that video. Some applications are still on for some schools. You can check the list I also drafted out in the video from the last time and use the link to check which school is still accepting application and which school is not accepting application. So stay tuned and let's see what the educational system in Italy looks like. Welcome back once again, and like I said, I'll be talking about what the educational system in Italy is like. Okay, I've studied in Nigeria and I've also studied in the UK, so I can point out certain things that are kind of different. For example, when I was in the UK, the school I was in, we did not write any examination. We were graded based on just assessments, mostly review essays, whereas in Nigeria you have to write exams. So the first thing I'll be talking about the educational system in Italy is the fact that we have mandatory courses and we have elective. I think there are some other universities too, maybe in Nigeria, that could also be employing this system, but I knew that when I was in Nigeria I did not have elective courses. All my courses were mandatory, like you couldn't choose what course you want to offer based on your program. So now in Italy I'm offering sustainable agriculture. We have a list of mandatory courses, and under the elective you have up to 4 or more than courses. You have 4 courses and you have to pick at least 2. In some departments you could be told to borrow course from other departments. I think it happens in federal universities in Nigeria. So that's just the basics. So you have mandatory courses and you have elective courses, and let me tell you, classes are really intense here in Italy. I was thinking grad school, you don't have to attend class all the time. When I was in UK, I did a master's. The way the curriculum was structured, we attended classes maybe few times in a month really. But when I got here, it was a little bit hard for me to catch up, but we thank God for the Nigerian spirit in us. So classes were back to back. I did not have any free day per se from morning to evening, and I think it was just Friday that was a bit free because I had just one lecture. So one thing you should expect is that classes are really intense here in Italy, mostly for the first year. I think when you get to the second year, it's a bit the workload is not so much, because then you have to focus on your thesis, so you might be having just 1 or 2 courses to study at that particular time in order to make up for your credit load. Another thing you should also take note of when you are planning to come into study in Italy is that there are lots of practicals where it depends on your course really, and I think this is something that should also be seen maybe in other European countries, the educational system, because I have friends in other European countries who I've interacted with. So in Italy you have practicals like for example, let's say you are doing something relating to maybe marine biology, most definitely you have to visit fisheries and you guys will be in the lab. I'm doing sustainable agriculture. I remember that even when I resumed late, I was still involved in some excursions and some field trips and farm trips and all of that. And I'm so sure that even in this new semester that we are in, there will still be like lots of practical. So in Italy, it's not just the theoretical aspects. Aside from the fact that the professors are knowledgeable, you also get to see what you are being taught in like real life. So sometimes even professionals from like the industries relating to your field could be brought in to just like chip in what the industrial aspect of your course might also look like. So you should expect practicals, you should expect real life experiences of your program when you're studying. Talking about the examination or the system of grading in Italy, yes, you have to write exams. Unlike when I was in UK, where not all universities in UK per se do not write exams. I'm sure that some do, but here in Italy, definitely you have to write exams, and we have two forms which the examinations can take. The first is the written and the second is the oral form. So the oral form was a bit new to me because you have to sit in front of the lecturer and the lecturer asks you questions from any aspect of the note. Left to me, I would prefer written examination because at least I would have the opportunity to like think through what I want to write, and even if you don't know the question, but the fact that you are alone with the paper, you can think of what exactly you want to write. But the oral, even if you know the answer to the question, I feel the tension and the anxiety might probably make you to stutter or to just blab out rubbish per se. So in Italy, not all courses, but it's most likely that one or two out of the courses you'll be offering will require you to sit for an oral examination. And another way which professors could also like get the marks needed for your course is through presentations. And definitely presentations are nothing, they are not too new for most of us, especially those from like I think every educational system embraces presentations generally. So that could also add to the way you'll be graded for a particular course. Now talking about the grading system and the releasing of scores, yes, there are two ways. Okay, let me first talk about how the mark is. You'll be graded all over 30. That's how most of the courses are. So the maximum is 30. Yeah, that's the maximum, and the pass mark is 18 all over 30. So for you to pass a particular subject to a course, you need to get a minimum of 18. And here in Italy, 90% is A. I think when I was in Nigeria, it was about 70%, and even in the UK, it was 70%. In secondary school, I think you do 75% or thereabout for you to know that you have A. But in Italy, it is 90%, meaning that if you want to have like an A for your course, you need to aim for 27 all over 30. Yeah, it's that much. I think B is like 26 to maybe 25 or 24 thereabout. So if you're the kind of student who wants to like maybe further your education for maybe PhD and all of that, so you need to also like put these things into consideration. So there's the normal average and there's the weighted average. The weighted average is the one whereby it's multiplied by the number of credits. For example, if you had 27 all over 30 in a course and the units, or let me say the credits is like 8 credits, so it will be multiplied by 8 before the average is done, like the cumulative of that is done, and divided by the total number of credits you have. So you could check online to see how that's been calculated. It's just like the normal way the cumulative grade point average is also done in like other universities. So A is 90% and you need to have 27 all over 30 or above to also get A. And one thing that is also done here in Italy, I'm not sure if it's done in other European schools or countries is the fact that you can also have 30 plus. It's called 30, that is 30 with honors. It's possible that the other time I mentioned that one way the lecturers or the professors grade is through presentation. So sometimes you could do a presentation, maybe any other assessment, and it's just like an extra mark. So when you write the exam also will be graded all over 30. But let's say you were faithful enough to do the presentation, or you were faithful enough to turn in that assessment. So that's like an extra mark. So if you've had 28 all over 30 in the examination, and you had like 3 points from the presentation or assessment, that's 28 plus 3, which is 31. So you have 31 all over 30, which is 30 all over 30 or 30 with honors. Yeah, so that's it. Another good thing which I can also point out about the grading system, or the examination here in Italy, is it's really flexible. I would say it's good, and at the same time it might not be too good, in the sense that, okay, you have like different calls for the examination and different times where you can like write the examination at your own convenience. For example, you have the winter, I think the summer, and maybe the autumn sessions and all of that. So when I was to write my examination, exams started January, and I could have written all of my courses. I was meant to write an examination for about 4 courses. Then I could have written all of the examinations in January, but there were slots for January and February, which is the winter session. So I was able to like spread my exams over January and February. For example, a course called Organic Vegetable Production could have been written in January and at the same time written in February. So I decided to write it in January, while another course, maybe like economics, that could have also been written in January, I decided to write it like in February. And this same course can also be written in summer and also in autumn. So it means that there would also be slots for this examination, maybe like in June, July, and also maybe like in September, October, thereabouts. So that's like you have like 6 slots in total for just one course. In as much as it is very good, but if you keep prolonging, like for example, a course that you offered in January or maybe for the first semester, it's advisable that you do it maybe between January and February, but you can also write it in summer. But just know that by the time it is summer, you would also have other workload and maybe like other courses that you also have to like focus on or also write exams for. So examinations in Italy is kind of very flexible. And one thing also is that you can also reject scores. For example, I said the minimum to pass the course is 18. But let's say you end up getting like 22 and your target is like 27. So, and when the results, you first receive a notification via mail that in so examination that you wrote, you had like a score of like 22 all over 30, and that you should accept or maybe reject this score within a stipulated time. So if you are able to, if you feel like you do not like this score and you're not comfortable with it, you have like the freedom to reject it before it's published on your transcript. But by the time it's published on your transcript, you cannot do anything about it again. So it's like, oh, I do not like this score, I think I can do better in the next attempt if I like try to write the examination again. So you reject it maybe like within 7 to 8 days, depending on what the deadline is when you receive that particular mail. So I think that's also a good point, or a good thing to look out for if you want to study anything, compared to maybe like other educational system, whereby when you fail a particular examination or you do not like the score, that's the final score, and it's like a carryover automatically, which reduces your cumulative grade point average. But in this case, it doesn't affect you in any way as long as you reject it before it's been published at the stipulated time given to you. So another thing I would also point out that is beneficial in studying in Italy, and this is also general for studying in Europe, is the fact that you have access to Erasmus traineeship and Erasmus study. I'm studying sustainable agriculture in the University of Padova here in Italy, but I can also apply to study for my second year in another school in another European country. So the call will be out at a particular time. It will be sent to your mail and all of that. That these are the list of schools, and in this country, these are the programs. So I can decide that, okay, my second year, I would complete my second year maybe in a school in Germany, or in a school in Switzerland, or a school in Belgium, or a school in Finland, a school in Sweden. You have the opportunity to also learn from other schools and, see what other opportunities are there. And if you're the kind of person that loves to travel, loves to mingle, so it's a very, very good opportunity, which I think. And if you think that you do not want to go through the Erasmus study route, there's also the Erasmus traineeship, which is like an internship where you can work in any organization relating to your field of studies. It can also be a university, and you can do this maybe in the last semester, where your thesis or your dissertation will be carried out in that particular organization or maybe university that you have decided to work with for internship. And if you say, okay, fine, I do not want to do my thesis, I still want to complete all of my study in Italy, after your graduation, you can still go for that internship as long as you applied before you graduate. So it's like a 12 months long program, and you get paid for it based on what country you are going to. Another good thing about studying in Italy, and I think maybe European schools, is the fact that you can also collaborate with other universities outside of Europe, in other countries. So there's also I think, is it ULICEP program? I can't remember what it's being called, but you, just like the Erasmus, but in this case, you get to study or do your thesis or maybe internship outside of Europe. So you can also apply for that, and in this case, the stipend which you'll be given will be higher compared to those who are studying like within Europe. And another aspect is the dual degree program. For example, I'm studying sustainable agriculture. This does not work for, I don't think it works for all programs actually, but if you are enrolled for your program, you probably see all of this on the websites, and so now I'm studying sustainable agriculture, and there's a collaboration with the University of Georgia in the USA, where you'll be receiving 2 degrees. This is if you opt in, if you are interested. You have to like apply for it, go through maybe the examinations and interviews and all of that. So in the case of the Erasmus, you're not getting 2 certificates, it's just one you're getting, but it's just like an opportunity to go to another country or go to another university. But in the case of, in a situation where you have dual degree means you'll be getting like a certificate that will be recognized from 2 universities. And in the example I cited for myself, the sustainable agriculture, you are opportunity to go to the USA to complete your second year in the crop and soil science study track, and you also like get paid for this. So it's similar to when you say you are applying to the USA normally for like funding and all that. So this is like an opportunity brought to your doorstep. It's not like you don't work for it. You would put in the effort, you will still apply for, you still write GRE, but I think it's easier because when you go through the examination and the interview and you get selected maybe from your school and you are recommended to the USC, the University of Georgia and all of that, it's easier than you like trying to apply for everything right from scratch. It's not applicable to all programs, just selected programs. I think studying abroad generally, you get to receive updates in your email, your school mail, where they bring out list of maybe internships, list of programs that can help your career, list of programs and webinars to help you in developing certain transferable skills that will be useful like in the real world and in the professional world, and in searching for jobs and all of that. So like so many opportunities will be sent to you, maybe like from KPMG, maybe like skills on communication, or even your mental health, your well-being and all of that. All of this will be sent to your mail. Then you decide what and which one you want to like go for and be a beneficiary of. Another thing that I would also love to point out is the fact that there are exchange programs. This is different from the Erasmus study program I mentioned before. Exchange program, which can be like 6 weeks or as small as maybe 3 days or 4 days. So you get to meet other youths, mostly those in the development sector or those passionate about moving or advancing a course relating to sustainability or whatever. So this might not be published or sent to you via your school mail, but there are actually websites and there are pages that you can follow on Instagram. Well, these pages like put out some of these opportunities. For example, you could see a call that students or citizens or residents in Italy, this and this, there is like a project or maybe gender equality, blah 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 blah, happening at a certain time. If you're interested, you apply. So many opportunities, maybe opportunity relating to media, opportunity relating to maybe like education and all of that. So it's just like an opportunity to mingle with people, like get out there. Some could be even as long as a year. So these opportunities like are available for you to just tap into and tap from. Okay, are there really disadvantages of studying in Italy or studying in European schools? Most likely the first thing I'll talk about is the language barrier, but as long as you are choosing a course that is in English, that's the first thing. You even have to choose a course in English, because for Christ's sake, you can't choose a course in Italian language. How will you cope? So I would say the language could be a barrier, but not in the study environment per se. It might just be like in other aspects of you living in the country. You get? And I think I should do a video on culture shock that I kind of experienced when I first came in. I will do that. So to talk about maybe like the lifestyle, the standard of living, and some things you should expect aside from the educational system. So the educational system can be quite intense and stressful, but in the end I think it's really worth it. So studying in Italy is a good opportunity. Well, okay, let me point out that because of the language barrier, maybe after your study, the prospect of like getting a job might not be too high in a way, but the good thing is your certificate is still recognized, maybe like other European countries, and you still have like a year or a year and a half to look for a job and all of that. And meanwhile, like I said, some of these opportunities that are there, even before the conclusion of your program, you could find maybe like a better opportunity in another country. Or even while you are staying in Italy, you might decide to study the language and be good enough to be qualified to apply for some jobs. Not like there are no jobs whereby they require English speaking individuals. Yeah, they are, but the chances, like, they are not too much compared to jobs whereby you have to know how to speak the language. So these are all the things I think I've noticed just like in my little time of being in Italy and of being a student here. So if you have picked one or two things, you can do well to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and comment if you have any question or if you have anything you want to know or find out about studying in Italy. Do let me know, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks for staying to the end. Ciao.